Hi there, welcome to another edition of our podcast that will be uploaded onto YouTube. So let's get going. Hi, and welcome to the Gritty Girls podcast, where we explore gritty topics and ideas. I'm Christina Lee, and I host the show along with Leslie Campbell, my co host. And we've decided to launch a new series on our podcast called Gritty Musings, thoughts about the various truths and observations about life that we want to delve into, especially ones that aren't always dinner table conversations. You can think of these as short essays that give you something to mull over. So, what are we thinking about today? Have you ever had an encounter you couldn't forget? One that made you reflect much deeper than the initial exchange? That happened to me recently, just last month actually, and I call it the Costco Girl. Oh yeah, for you Costco fans out there, this encounter happened there. So, I was sitting around with my sister and brother-in-law and recalled a visit to Costco. Not that the shopping was especially notable, just the usual Costco run, which for me meant once a month, a tab of $500 and a basket so full it always induces anxiety in me. Guess who gets to put away all that food when I get it home? So on that day, I was there with my mom and my youngest, and after we had checked out, I sent them off to load up the car while I stood in the return line since I had noticed that the cashier rang me up something I had not meant to buy. As I waited, my eyes were quickly drawn to the woman, a woman, I should say, behind the counter, who was helping someone. Even though her face mask, even through her face mask, I could tell she was beautiful. Her frizzy, curly hair was drawn up in a bun. She wore a plain light blue long sleeve tee, and her trim legs were fitted in a snug pair of blue jeans. Besides the fact she was beautiful, she radiated warmth and connection. The way she responded to the guest, you could tell she had him enraptured. He couldn't help but turn on the charm, hoping that maybe she'd shine some of that effervescence on him. And did she engage? She spoke to him with her whole body, leaning back to laugh, raising her arms to gesture in response to the story he related, moving in to show interest, light on her feet to move about the counter as she grabbed a form to show him whatever it was he wanted an answer to. Then off he went, happy, believing for a moment that maybe he still had it, had enough to charm someone like her. I see the next customer float up to her, and she does it again, beaming at him, even through that mask. As I watch, I hope that she'll wait on me, but do I want her to? I'm a bit nervous. Then it's my turn, and what do you know? Suddenly, I'm face to face with her, and up close, she's even more beautiful. Perfectly symmetrical arched eyebrows, perfectly warm brown eyes with just enough eyeshadow to accentuate, and crinkles around those eyes, implicating the smile beneath the mask. I gave her my unintended purchase and receipt and made a comment about how I didn't catch the cashier before she rang me up, and she said something like, "Yeah, I get it. Slight inconvenience," and smiled. I wanted to say, "You're beautiful and you have quite a presence," but I couldn't do it. I was too intimidated, even though I wanted her to know. When it was all over, I had to leave, but she stayed with me that day. I wondered, what's it like to be so magnetic? What's it like to have such an effect on people? Was she aware? And if so, does she try to ignore it so that it doesn't get to her head? She certainly seemed genuinely warm and present. What's she going to do with all that presence? Then I reflected on myself. Was I ever that magnetic? Even at the peak of my youth, my vitality, my good looks, was I as arresting? Did I have that effect? She had a lightness, something that made you want to be near her. And yet, you're afraid because you didn't want to face your own discomfort about yourself. You'd have to ask, what do I lack? You'd have to face your aging face, the bags under your eyes, the thinning of your lips, your aching hip, your bad back, and the sex you're not having anymore, and wonder, is this me? Is this who I've become? Not even a paler version of the old self, but something even less memorable? This is the inevitable for every woman, like a cliche, and even that feels shameful. Not allowed to mourn for that lost, long gone self because it would mean having invested so much in that powerful, seductive version of who we all were. She was something else. For me, the encounter with Costco Girl didn't make me bitter about myself. I could appreciate the wonderfulness of her, the near magical quality of someone like her. Maybe if I were younger, less okay with being less, that I would have defended against the insecurities, unable to acknowledge what I could clearly see, someone who seemed truly beautiful inside out and all around. I smiled, knowing there's a Costco girl in me too. Yes, I know you can recognize the sorrow of aging, all the unknown that comes with that, the discomfort. But yet, also, having to go deep inside to find who you really are. And I think that in the end, it was that quality she had. It was the person, not how she looked, but just what she was radiating. That's what we don't want to lose, is that life within that is in each of us. And that's what we have to hold on through, all through life, to the very end, and know that that is who we are. That's our gritty musing for the day. Thanks for listening. We're still a small and new show, so we'd love for you to help us out by subscribing and rating us wherever you listen to our show. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Look for our handle, @GrittyGirls. We're on Instagram too, where you can watch our journey unfold at Gritty Girls Podcast. Until next time, listen to understand, seek out growth, and keep the heart and mind open. All right, YouTubers, thanks for hanging out with us for another edition of Gritty Girls Podcast. Until next time, thanks for joining us.